All right, Kiss Army, welcome to the KissFAQ podcast. Thank you for giving us your time today and letting us into your head. I hope you don't do any damage. This is a Kiss-related podcast by the board for the board. We hope that you enjoy. Welcome to episode 137 of the KissFAQ podcast. I'm your host today, Julian, admin on the FAQ message board. I am joined by 69th Blizzard, Ken.
Hello.
And St. Louis Kiss, Lonnie. And hopefully Alan will work through his technical issues and be able to join us. And if not, Alan, thank you for staying up late and trying. It's the thought that counts in this case, but I'm hoping that your system does start to behave with you, because I did want to apologize to you for one of my picks in our topic today, since you're going to be participating. So I don't think we have a whole lot of news. One interesting thing is I just got a stack of something in from Europe, which contained part of the 1988 tour rider. Also had rooming lists. I always love those, as they have the aliases that the band members use, and usually see Gene with Dr. Van Helsing. There also Rusty Blade shows up a lot, as do U.S. presidents' names. But Paul Stanley in this one for, I think it was September 88, Mr. Spartacus. I'm not sure whether to shake my head, grin, smile, or just say, what the yeah, okay.
Maybe you should have went with Kirk Douglas or something like that.
Yeah, Mr. Spartacus. Yeah. Yeah. Other than that, well, Ken, you and I would have been at a Gene Simmons show last Saturday, wouldn't we?
Yeah.
Thank you, Gene.
Yeah, we would have.
And then
I'm sorry, that sucks, guys.
Yeah, and then he scheduled another show for, I think it's for the 12th. So
Wisconsin or somewhere.
And barely anyone's heard of it. And it's not selling. It's
like a warm-up or something, maybe.
Well, you know, if you're a promoter and you're promoting a show, the object of the exercise is to promote a show. Yeah. Otherwise, people won't know that you have a show, and Gene Simmons is going to be there with his band. So I don't know what the deal is.
The only other thing I saw today was, maybe it was new to me, it was Ace Frehley and 4x Fate.
Yeah.
Touring. It says World Tour 2017.
17-18, yeah.
Yeah, so.
How's he going to do that if he's rejoining Kiss?
Yeah, he's going to use his spaceship, and he's going to, or teleport, or do something like that, I think.
So Andy he pinged me earlier, and with that news, I was like, wow, I mean, and some of the discussions that are going on about that is that, well, what's that mean? Does that mean like a partial Frehley's Comet reunion is going to happen? So maybe Ace was not rejoining Kiss this year. It was Frehley's Comet first.
Got mixed up.
You know, and I think it'd be kind of cool to see Ace back with John and Todd for a song, just for a song. Nice. That would be fun. I wouldn't like to see Frehley's Comet.
Rock Soldiers or something.
Not in that format back together, because I prefer the Ritchie lineup, which was heavier than the keyboardy kind of stuff that eventually came out on the album. But that, is all down to taste. That stuff on that first album was decent enough anyway. It's okay. But all right. So
I like to say too, before we go on that, there's a KissFAQ Fantasy Football League this year again. If anyone is interested in signing up, go to the Sports Talk tab on KissFAQ, and the thread is FAQ Fantasy Football. Sign up. Our draft is going to be Friday, September 1st. It is free. It's just for fun. So if you're interested in that, go ahead and sign up.
Cool. Thanks for sharing that. And that is, of course,
thank you, Julian.
That is American football, not real
Correct.
football.
That's true.
All right. So today's topic.
Julian just likes to take little digs at me.
Yeah. Okay. Here's another dig. I watched a Guns N' Roses show on YouTube the other day.
Yeah.
3 fucking hours.
Awesome.
Yeah. I can't believe it. I'm like,
I told you.
I'm like, awesome. I'm still watching this. I mean, they're not done yet. They're still playing. Oh my goodness. What a great set list that was. Fantastic. And that was the one that was streamed on Sirius XM. So you do get Eddie talking through part of
in
it.
between, yeah.
Which was fine, and I know that'll drive some people absolutely mental, but there you go. So, today's topic, and this is kind of inspired by one of the threads that's currently going on the FAQ message board. You know, what are our favorite scenes out of KISS videos, or moments in KISS videos, or anything visual, kind of from that perspective. And for me, whenever I think of a KISS video and one of my favorite scenes, it's always going to come back to the All Hell's Breaking Loose video. And I'm sorry, Paul.
Oh.
It's when he slashes the sword and Gene face palms in the background. I have just always cracked up and giggled at that. There's a lot of funny shit in that video. I mean, come on, it's just right from the vertically challenged person at the beginning to the girls' expressions when they're, going at it with their, what are those swords called? Whatever, epées.
My mind went somewhere else. You said girls going at it.
Yeah. But your mind's in the gutter. So I took a preemptive strike there and got in with that pick. Lonnie, you're obviously in a playful mood, so why don't you get sharing with some of your picks?
Oh, there's a lot of good fun stuff that goes on KISS videos. Maybe some fun stuff, some embarrassing stuff. But the most entertaining video is obviously Exposed, because of all the one-liners and all the cheesiness that goes on. You know, like, what would you like for Christmas? You know, like, you don't have to wait for Christmas for that. You know, it's so cheesy, but it's so great at the same time. And I can sit and laugh at the one-liners in that video just all day long. And I know there's so many. That Paul Stanley, eating cereal with root beer, it's good roughage because I'm a pretty rough guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I get, like the first time I watch it, I don't even understand even things like that, because I'm about 8 or 9 maybe when I'm watching that for the first time. I don't even understand half the jokes that are going on. But you watch it again, like, oh, I see what he's saying there.
Okay. So you're 8 years old, and this was going to be one of my picks. So I'm going to again preempt you. Candy Evans. How many times did you try and slow play that on the VCR just to see if you can catch it?
I think I developed something between trying to slow down that and then how you're watching like the Playboy Channel when you're a kid and it's all like this and like, oh, I think I see a boob, stuff like that. Really kind of warped my mind, and it kind of influenced who I am today. Those two things in particular.
KISS Exposed is absolute comedic gold.
It's fantastic.
It's amazing how involved Gene and Paul actually were in the writing of that and how into it they were. But it really kind of comes through for them rather than Eric Carr and Bruce. Ken.
Yeah, they're like 2 seconds each.
So you just wanted me to say the favorite moments from those videos, or
whatever you want to do with it. The only rule is there are no rules.
No rules. Okay. Well, I mean, the other video, of course, Exposed, but the movie, Kiss Meets the Phantom of the Park, with all the lines they had in that, like Easy Catman, they are serious, and some other ones like
Gene's brother was an only child.
Gene's brother was an only child, and the Ace, and he's got it, and he's got a gun, that kind of stuff, or the other line about the Armageddon is going to open for them, and
Armageddon's a lame band or whatever.
Armageddon's a crappy group anyway.
Something like that. They're a lame group anyway. Stuff like that. But so that video. Just the other thing that stand out to me, though, is not necessarily, I guess, funny, or I don't know what it is, but when Gene in Extreme Close-Up is talking about the Mark St. John's, Bumblebee playing, and he does that zzz sound, kind of thing, and the other thing in there, though, wasn't funny, but is them talking about, oh, well, we're never going to put the makeup back on. We're not going to get back together, kind of thing in there. And they kind of, that kind of ate their words there on that one. So I think they're lucky that they changed their mind, I think, on that, because they were running out of money. But and then, I don't know, I can't remember the ones in Scooby-Doo. I mean, Scooby-Doo's a fun movie. That's a real fun movie. It has some good stuff. So otherwise, there's lots of great stuff in those videos.
Yeah, rather than the acting itself. I mean, if you
if you call it acting,
other than the acting,
you call it acting.
You totally mentioned one that was on my list, and that's the scene of them by the pool in The Phantom. And it's the ownership approaches, and I think you also had the part where it's at Easy Catman. They are serious, and they've got guns.
Yeah, he's got a gun.
I just love that part by the pool when they're up on those lifeguard chairs, because and the camera angles make them really look larger than life. It's one of the few really decent scenes for me in the movie that it's them kind of how you'd expect to kind of see them. And the acting is not as bad as everywhere else in the movie. Paul is just atrocious in that movie, and of course you never really hear Peter's voice. So
that's true.
You moved into Scooby-Doo, and I gotta say, the only ones, and when I was doing this, I was like, what could I think of, out of these videos without going and watching any of them, because how can they be a favorite if you got to go look at them in order to remember what they are? And the only thing at Scooby-Doo, I mean, I remember how fun the video was, but the only thing that actually jumps out at me is Chip Magoo.
Yeah,
those are the best lines in the whole thing.
The spray, everything that was the
everything you could market, you could.
The self-depreciating humor was just absolutely spot on, and kind of nailed Doc McGee perfectly in terms of character, and nailed the band in terms of mocking everything that they sell. And it was just done in such a great way that how can you not smile the next time you see, Gene Simmons toilet paper? You're just going to hear Chip Magoo in your ear going, and I got Gene Simmons toilet paper. And it's gonna make everything okay for the rest of their merchandising life, because I'm never going to get pissed off at it again. I'm always going to have Chip Magoo in my ear, making it totally okay to not be mad about Kiss's merchandise. Lonnie, let's go back to you for another one.
Yeah, I mean, the end of Extreme Close-Up, and I don't know if it's really cheesy or if it's really heartfelt, but it was meant to be really heartfelt when Gene and Paul are talking about the fans at the very end of Extreme Close-Up, and talks about how, that Gene says something to the fact that, in all honesty, we're a couple of the luckiest guys that have ever walked the earth, and the Kiss Army is what and what they've done in the lives that they've made for us. It's really heartfelt, and it really kind of makes you proud to be a part of the Kiss Army when you watch that. And there's a lot of stuff in Extreme Close-Up, like at the beginning, when Gene talks about, you were the weirdo in school, well, that's okay because you believed in something, you knew something that other people didn't. And there's a lot of lines in Extreme Close-Up that really make you feel proud to be a Kiss fan. And as a teenager watching that, that's something you kind of need sometimes when you're a teenager, is something to be proud of and something that you can get behind and something that you believe in. And Kiss was that for me for sure when I was in high school, and still is, to effect today. So it really was heartfelt. It came off that way to me, that it wasn't like the cheesy liners that are in Exposed or some of the cheesy lines that are earlier in Extreme Close-Up, but it really made me feel proud not only to be a fan, but it felt like, well, and Gene and Paul appreciate me being a fan of them. Like, it was the first time I maybe felt appreciated as being a fan. So Extreme Close-Up to me is really good, and not only that, but it's where I learned a lot of the Kiss backstory for the first time, with it coming out in was it 92? I guess I'm about 12, 13 years old. So it's really where I learned a lot of history, for lack of better terms, and just always it made me proud. So Extreme Close-Up for me is really top notch.
So that's your pick, and mine is of course Exposed for a similar story. That at the time I became a fan, that was the first video that came out that I could afford. I think Animalized Live Uncensored had been out before that, but it was still horrendously priced and difficult to find. They had the magazine tie-in with Exposed. I was 14 years old, I think. So a teenager. So porn stars and classic Kiss clips was like a perfect education at that age. Paul, Bruce Kulick coming down the stairs. Is this documentary? Edit her out. All that sort of cornball stuff. The chimpanzee instead of having Eric Carr in it. I mean, it's only as you look back on it, but it was such an introduction to kind of the band. And I could almost imagine Gene Simmons being the sort of, back then, having these women on call, sticking their heads through trophy plates and all.
Hillary changed places with Linda.
Right.
It was like the Monkees on acid. I mean, at that age, I'd watched the Monkees on TV, and it was like, oh, so the guys in Kiss are like that too.
In the house together.
If you're in a rock band, that's what you're like.
Yeah. So the Beatles all lived together, and the Monkees, and no,
we're just best friends.
I mean, you knew it was comedy, and at least I hope people knew it was comedy. I certainly didn't think it was reality, but I thought they were trying to, with the porn stars, present the larger than life kind of thing, and going into the vault, that there's actually a physical vault in the museum. I mean, Sir Joseph Kiss Sr., how wonderful, how stupid. I mean, looking back on it as middle-aged, people, absolutely idiotic. Holding up the Ace Frehley doll, I'm alive and well, where am I? Yeah, it was fun. And then, of course, he releases Frehley's Comet that year, so up yours, Gina Ball, nice.
Here I am.
Snark attack fail, but... So that video has so many of those moments because it's wrapped up in an important period of my life. And that's the greatest thing about a video, is that it kind of has an impact, an impression on you. Ken, let's go back to you. Do you have any more kind of video pics or comments on stuff? Or even their documentary commentary?
Well, the Kiss Exposed was great. When they, like I said, the best parts for me always were the old clips, seeing old clips, and then I liked when they talked about when they did talk a little bit. They're sitting there outside by the chairs, and they're talking about the early years where they're sitting out, they're singing on the street corner kind of thing, and the person comes up and, "Hey, Stanley,"
You're so cute.
So. Yeah, and then they start trying to harmonize a Beatles song, right? One of the Beatles songs, and I thought that's just, to me, that's cool stuff, when they start talking about that. And then Extreme Close-Up, that was better for me because they talked a lot more about the origins of the band, especially at the beginning of the video. And that is like Lonnie said, it's pretty much about the first time they really got into it. Was talking about that stuff. About the history, Wicked Lester, and how
how Ace really joined the band. You really get that story for the first time.
Exactly. And then so it's like, okay, here we're finally hearing something about how all this went down. Otherwise, if I go to the other video that is that VH1 documentary, is the only documentary we have. Because we're still waiting for the other one to come out, but
behind the makeup or something it was called.
Yeah,
because they were doing that behind the music stuff at the time.
Yeah,
so it was like a 2 hour instead of a 1 hour. It was behind the makeup.
Right.
It's really good.
Exactly, and it was really good, and it covers it. I mean, it kind of skipped through the '80s a little bit, though, a little fast, of course, but hopefully the next documentary will cover that. But that was I enjoy. I watched that over and over. I had it taped on VHS. Now I have it on a DVD. But I watch it. I'll pull it out every now and then and just check it out. So there you go.
That's what I've been working on this week. Going through the remaining VHS tapes, I was like, okay.
Converting.
Well, yeah, and this is Def Leppard in Japan, 1999. I looked it up on YouTube. Someone's already done it. I'm like, okay, that can go in the trash. It's on YouTube. I can just grab it from there. You
might have a better version.
No, I do not have a better version.
Oh, okay.
So one of the things, you mentioned Behind the Makeup and documentary, that getting a little bit more serious, but a couple of the best things I've seen with where I was living. Well, I was in Singapore, and I don't remember any music videotapes being out there and getting past the board of censors. I didn't see Extreme Close-Up or Confidential until after I moved back to England, or actually to Scotland at the time.
What year was that?
That was oh shit. They hadn't come out actually, because I moved back there in '92. So I did see them out there when they came out. So whatever. The ones I prefer. I'm slowly muddling my way through my thought, which isn't making it all the way through my brain. Is Behind the Makeup. I find the VH1 Kissology specials better. That you've got Paul Stanley and Gene sitting down and giving you more of the commentary that was like the commentary video track on the DVDs about all the material.
That's great.
Yeah, kind of packaged up in a more intelligent manner. They've got a few of the one-liners and very insightful comments that, make them stand out. So, when we did an episode on, our favorite videos, I know we talked about the commentary track, but again, to anyone who's new watching this show or has forgotten, if you have not watched the commentary tracks on Kissology, it's do not miss material. It is absolutely gold, and there's not much to draw attention to it other than us telling you that it's got some really cool shit. Go and watch those, even if you haven't touched your Kissology boxes in a long time. I wanted to kind of wrap up this segment of the show with a few more of my picks. Fairly Odd Parents. I love Kiss's appearance on that, particularly the concert sequence when they're just doing the really larger than life kind of movements and expressions, and the crowd's all doing, I guess what they perceive us to be doing during a show. Love that. Tears Are Falling. First video I ever saw that I can recall anyway. The one that got me into the band. I love the whole jungle volcano TV tree, Paul Stanley swinging on a vine thing. That's just absolutely badass to my 14-year-old psyche. It takes me back to Paradise City where the grass is green.
And girls are pretty.
Yeah.
At the same time, too.
Yeah, another one of my favorite scenes is Gene at the beginning of the All Hells video, kicking the beggar while he's chewing on a
yeah, exactly,
on a lamb shank or something. It's just
perfect.
And then my final one I've written down is Bruce Kulick falling backwards into the pool of water, doing his guitar solo in reverse. Obviously, in the Who Wants to Be Lonely video. But again, that one for the 14-year-old is full of,
for sure,
girls falling into water, girls and water, top notch. I think there's fire as well. Fire and water. Yeah.
There you go.
Cool shit. So those are the rest of my picks. Lonnie, did you have any, final words before we get into part 2?
I think I have is we touched on this maybe about a week or so ago, is the Cadillac, Michigan footage on Kissology 1. Mini documentary that's on there is really great, and it's again, going back to the commentary that we were talking about, it's really great to watch the little documentary and then stop it and then watch it again with the commentary to hear Gene and Paul's recollections of Cadillac. It's probably one of my favorite things on Kissology 1. It's very well done. The VMA performance in '96. The VMA performance, how they close out the VMA is awesome.
That's under the Brooklyn Bridge, right? That's the
yeah.
It's a reunion tour at its finest, and we've discussed that before on the show. But though that's really at the height of the reunion tour, at their height of their popularity, and the band has played together a few months, and they're just really clicking on all cylinders that night. It's makes you proud to be a fan. Again, it's one of those nights like when they closed out the VMAs and I walked in the school the next day, and I'm a senior in high school, and like, yeah, that's right. That's my band that closed out the awards last night, and they kicked ass, and you guys all know it. So those are probably my other picks that we didn't touch on. Scooby-Doo, I've only watched it maybe one time, but yeah, the only thing that sticks out to me is Chip Magoo, and as far as what I take away from that.
Yeah, so the MTV Music Awards, up yours, all of you. I was in Scotland. Yeah, I was dialed into AOL and the Kiss Army online there, seeing people talk about how cool it was, and I'm like, yeah, that's really nice to hear about how cool it was to see. Thank you so much. Up in where I lived, we did not have any cable or any way of seeing that, so I didn't get to see that for quite a long time. But freaking awesome. Let's get into the main segment of the show today, which is our least favorite Kisses. You know, I know we always do talk about the stuff that we don't like, and we've come up with each with a list of 10 of our least favorite Kiss songs, and no one has included Peter Criss's solo album, because you're not mean, horrible individuals.
Yep.
What makes a bad Kiss song? Is it one that you immediately hate and continue to hate? Or have there been songs that you hated initially that you've grown to like? Or are there songs that over the years you have just decided, I liked that years ago, but that really is atrocious? Ken.
Okay. You start with me. All right. Well,
you always start.
Well, I think the first one that I think I've always hated, I guess this one's what I can't ever get into it. Is off of Psycho Circus, and you know what it is. I finally found my way to you. That one, man.
It's a different song off Psycho Circus, but
oh, really? Who would you think? Oh, it's another one.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay, you can do the other one. But that one, it was a bad attempt to write a ballad for Peter. I mean, he could have wrote a better ballad than that on his own, you know, without Stan Pendridge helping him. That's how bad I think that song is. It's just so sappy, you know.
Trying too hard.
It is. It's trying too hard, and they just should have excluded it from the album, really, and put one of the other demos that we've heard. Put something else on there.
Together from One for All, of course, was his song for
Hope, wasn't it? Hope.
Oh, thank you. You got me. But imagine what that could have been done in a Kiss situation. Now that we've heard the Baby Driver work tape, that they could have maybe improved it, to be frank.
Right. So that's the one. I mean, that's probably my number one of everything.
You know, that you started off with that one, it's like a slap in my head. I totally forgot that one, and I took Within off Psycho Circus. I cannot stand.
We all have songs of Psycho Circus we hate.
Yeah,
that's why it ranks low. I guess.
The first one I thought of was Within, and now that you said that, I'm like, well, you know, if I was going to keep myself just only having one song off any album that I hate to make my bottom of the barrel, Within starts off stupid and gets worse. I don't like the backwards intro. It doesn't work.
Stupid and gets worse.
And the rest of it is, you know, I just hated. I disliked it. It was like, I can see why I didn't make Carnival of Souls, and that wasn't a great album. And this is even worse than not a great album. So what the hell were they doing with it for Psycho Circus? And then it's one of the songs that they perform live, and I'm like, no, it's not. It's not unholy. It's not. It's not.
It's not even hate.
It's just shit.
Yes.
It's not even hate. I mean,
it's unholy shit.
It's leftover of a Carnival of Souls. So what does that tell you?
Yeah. So I have never gotten into it, and I know some people rave over it and do like it, and fine. Your opinion's as correct as mine is in this. So rock on, Lonnie.
I'm gonna go with a different song off of Psycho Circus, and I'm gonna. I'm going to go with You Wanted the Best, You Got the Best.
Yeah.
Yep.
Which is atrocious. When it first came out, and it's one of those songs, Julian, you mentioned it, that maybe it's a song that you thought was cool, and over time it's just like, no, this is awful. When it first came out, I thought, oh, that's cool. It has all four of the guys singing on the same track. And then you go back to it, and it's like, oh my gosh, that's awful. It's so... You tried too hard to put it together to have all four guys sing on the same song. And the refrain is, you wanted the best, you got the best. And it's like, pound your chest and pat yourself on the back at the same time. It's awful. And then you have the guys at the end like laughing and stuff, like they're getting along together in the studio. They're not even in the studio at the same time together. That's how much you're trying to portray something that isn't true. So we each have a third of Psycho Circus we all combined find atrocious. That's pretty bad.
Do you have another pick from Psycho Circus?
Psycho Circus? No, I don't actually.
Your least 10 favorite songs off Psycho Circus.
The rest is okay, actually, on there. So I'm okay with the rest. But yeah, those are about the 3 songs that should have been on there for sure. So my next song, I'm going to go back to Carnival of Souls. Pick one song from there also. It's Sorry Bruce, I love you, man. But I just don't like that song. What's the name? I can't really remember the name of it right now. But I Walk Alone. I think that was. It just seems unfinished to me. I mean, the whole album's pretty dreary, here and there, because it's that kind of tone. But that song is just, it just doesn't do anything for me. It's not because, I don't think it's because Bruce is singing. I just don't think that's up to snuff as a song in general. So, yeah, that one I'll skip. If I listen to the CD, I just stop maybe at that point, because I think it's the last song, right? I just stop.
That's enough.
That's enough.
Yep, and you know what? That's on my list.
Oh, is it?
Yeah,
really?
and sorry, sorry, Bruce. It's it's nothing personal. I just find that the song lacks a strong melody, and musically it lacks hooks, which are things I like. What I do like about the song is the solo. Some of the lead work is absolutely fantastic, but in terms of the underlying bed track, it's just turgid. It really doesn't have any great valleys or peaks for me. It just kind of meanders along with a certain amount of monotony. And for Bruce's first lead vocal effort, it was great. It was fun to hear the first time, and I don't go back to it individually. Simple as that. So let's move on to Lonnie again.
I'm gonna go with Bang Bang You. My next one.
I'll shoot you down with my love gun, baby.
I was filling out this list last night, and I was pulling out CDs, and I was like, okay, what am I gonna put down? Oh, Bang Bang You, that's a good one. So I started singing the song, and my wife's like, no, stop it, that's not real. I'm like, oh no, that's a real song. She goes, no, it's not. Yes, it is.
It's real.
Doing the countdown, 1, 2, 3, 4. It's so
when midnight
bad.
comes, I'll be at your door.
At your door.
5, 6. Oh,
it's so bad, and it's just it's totally. Put yourself in 1987 with what they were trying to do. I get what you're trying to do in 1987, but it's still freaking awful 20 years later. So
30 years later.
Oh, you're right. Oh my god.
Yeah. Just imagine how I felt as a new fan coming on board with Asylum, and Crazy Nights was my first album, and popping it in. on the Walkman, and the first song you get is Crazy Crazy Nights. Okay, that's pretty good.
Not bad.
And you get to Bang Bang You, and I was like, what the hell is this? This is trying to out-poison Poison. Well, maybe he should have given the song to Poison. Would have done the world a favor. This was on my list, which is why I jumped in there. It nearly killed my being a Kiss fan, this song in particular, as well as much of the rest of the album. So, dreadful. And
just awful.
Yeah, and that stack of Crazy Night CDs, yeah, it's on nearly every single one of those.
Sweet action
live. Damn
you get to hear it over and over and over again.
All right, I'm gonna jump the queue here because Ken's usurped me with one. You just usurped me with one.
You better make your own pick.
Yeah, so I'm getting in with Nothing Can Keep Me from Puking on You.
Ah, you got one of mine.
Oh, that's another one.
Yes.
That's a good one.
Awful.
I interviewed Diane Warren recently, and I did ask her about the song, and I ended up really not asking her about the song because I didn't want to kind of get into just how bad I do think it is. I, kind of asked a bit more about, what happened to Paul writing with her. Was this just a song that he heard, he liked, that he didn't feel he needed to add anything to? And that was essentially the impression that I was given, that he heard it, he liked it, and they went with it. So I wish they hadn't. I wish he had written. But then again, if you look back to some of these cast-offs from the Psycho Circus album, Body and Soul, maybe not. So, for the movie, I think the classic soundtrack, is probably better, because this song is it is by far, it's even worse than a song that someone else is going to mention. It's worse than anything for me in the catalog. It is this.
Your number one.
This is my number one or number two, because there's another song that's competing with it for me. So, Ken, back to you.
Yeah, that one should be on my list, but I couldn't remember it because I forgot how bad it was.
No, you're blocking it out.
No, you
edited it out.
Again, you're the voice of reason. You didn't even go there.
I was blocking it.
Exactly.
Now you reminded me, and now
he substitutes his reality.
Yes. I'm picking my next one is from Hot in the Shade. It is, and what's funny about it is.
Let's see if you take one of ours.
There's a number of songs on here, I think.
Oh, there's a few to choose from up there.
Yeah. But I'm gonna pick "Read My Body." And,
oh, really? Shock.
Yeah, but the thing is,
took one of each of ours.
The thing is, when I first heard it, the first time I heard it, I liked it at the beginning, but and then over time, it gets worse. Over time, it just didn't stand up well for me. I think very quickly it kind of went downhill for me. It's like, what did I find so good about that at the beginning? I don't know what it was. Maybe because it was an attempt to sound like some other band, right? I don't know if it was Def Leppard or somebody, but yeah.
Somebody bad.
Yeah, so Read My Body is another song for me.
Yeah.
That's not very good.
It was the declining fortunes of rock bands trying to rap. I mean, you start off in the early 80s with Blondie, knocks it out of the park. 86 comes along, Aerosmith gets a whole new career with Run DMC. Def Leppard the following year with, Pour Some Sugar on Me, has a bit of kind of rappy crap in it. Or one of the songs off Hysteria. And then you get to Kiss and Read My Body. It's just...
Oh, the letter's big enough.
Yeah. It worked better on All Hell's Breaking Loose. So.
Yeah, that's a different sort of rap, really. But Read My Body, atrocious. It was on my list. Lonnie?
Yeah.
It wasn't?
Everybody's list on that one.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Let's go back to you, Lonnie, then.
I'll go. I'm going to go with You Make Me Rock Hard.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh.
I almost forgot about this one because it's on the greatest hits package. But as I was going through them last night, like, oh, yeah. You Make Me Rock Hard. And what might be worse than the song is the video. The video is just awful as well.
The circus tent and the whip.
The video is perfect for the song because it's so bad and it's such an embarrassing time for the band. And it's Paul Stanley without the guitar and being a front man trying to just be John Bon Jovi almost at that point, or be Bret Michaels or whatever we were trying to do at that point. And it's trying too hard and making a fool of yourself in the process. So, You Make Me Rock Hard. I'm surprised that's. Do you guys have that on yours or not?
No,
I kind of.
That's surprising. That's awful.
That's not good.
Everybody talks about let's put the X and sex off of Smashes, Smashes, and Hits, but
that's
Make Me Rock Hard is much worse.
That was my pick off Smashes, and I was
let's put the X and sex.
Yeah, and I was actually debating between that and Beth. Because while I like Eric's vocal, I just don't like what it represents as being disrespectful to the band's biggest hit. I just thought then that it was wrong, and now that it was wrong. But Let's Put the X in Sex, is if we're into my top 3 of bad Kiss songs, it's up there. So You Make Me Rock Hard, I find it a lot better, actually.
Really?
Yeah, I find it more palatable, or not palatable, tolerable. Than Let's Put the X. But come on,
I don't know. They're both pretty brutal. Come on.
That isn't really a high point, and I know Paul's been he's been honest about it. That's the best he could do at the time, and it is what it is, and that's kind of fair. That's just a band that's a cry for help. Both of those songs are a cry for a kick in the nuts. Actually, a cry for help. Totally. All right, so Ken.
Okay.
Ken, what do you got?
All right, I got one. It's off of Animalize, and it is Murder in High Heels.
Yes.
While it's a great title, to me, it's a great title for a song. It's just. I don't know. It has a good riff kind of at the start, but it kind of from there it doesn't do much. And there's no murder in high heels.
It's total mail-it-in. It's a total mail-it-in song.
Yeah, there's
total
no.
Like I wrote this in a half hour. Done.
There's no melody or anything. It's just like the chorus is just him saying "murder in high heels."
I like it.
No.
No.
You do
that. I do. I like the chorus. I like the music on it. It's like it
has a groove. That's
got a
good,
groove.
But it's just something. It's missing a lot.
Doesn't do it for me.
Like Lonnie says, he mailed it in.
Yeah, he just totally mailed it in. There's your last song. Done.
I'm in Runaway right now. I'm too busy.
See ya.
I'm too busy.
Okay.
Being an actor.
I'm going to take my next pick, and this is the only album I was actually able to pick 2 songs from, and it is, of course, Hot in the Shade. With 15 songs, it's not surprising. There are a couple of real clunkers in there. The other one is You Love Me to Hate You, which I had the Joan Jett album, I Hate Myself for Loving You. And
that's better.
Well, yeah, most things are better when they're the first time round. This was just a rewrite of that, and it kind of showed what he was going for, is I want to write a song like that. It's got a great vibe, musically, it's a great song, and when you try and copy it with the same co-writer, you just end up with something that is obviously a copy and not a very good one, because you might as well have just covered the frickin' song and done it your way. So, I didn't like that song then. I don't like it now. It's not one that required any time to grow to hate. My feelings of it have stayed pretty consistent throughout the years. So, Lonnie.
I'm gonna stick with Hot in the Shade.
You could get through half the album. Yeah.
And I'm going to go with King of Hearts.
Okay.
It's pretty bad.
So these are all Paul Stanley songs, unfortunately. So
They are all Paul Stanley that we're talking. That's an interesting. I think, maybe by '89, Paul had been writing the bulk of the material for all these Kiss albums, and had just run out by this point, or maybe he had run out, or just his creative juices had just run dry for steering the ship as long as he had been at that point, and it just wasn't there.
Gene Simmons had been contributing some pretty bad songs for many years, so
Correct.
you get to a point by '89 that the bar is pretty low. And,
sure. And we were just talking in '88. The best he had was "Let's Put the X in Sex" and "You Make Me Rock Hard." So going into '89, we didn't have a resurgence in creativity or in songwriting, and it just, we're just naming song after song of Paul Stanley's off "Hot in the Shade," and they're just not there.
But
they're bad.
But yet, when he does hit it out of the park on "Hot in the Shade," "Forever," "Hide Your Heart" finally gets used on that album. Rise to It as well.
To it.
And when we go back to video sequences, take the beginning of that video. I fucking love that start. What if we took it off? Wouldn't matter. Okay, sorry.
Well, and we've said it before. The biggest problem with "Hot in the Shade" is that it's 15 songs.
Yeah, too many.
You take 5 songs off of "Hot in the Shade," well, it's not as big of a turd, for lack of better words.
Yep. And you substitute out some of the songs, like what
you take out some of these songs that we're saying.
Somebody's Waiting by Eric Carr. Something Wicked This Way Comes. Yeah, from Gene, to substitute some of his clunkers. It could have been a far better album, less of an assault on your brain. 15 songs worth, but there you go, Ken.
Okay, I'm going to one of the classic albums. And actually, I shouldn't really do this, but I can touch one. I can definitely touch this one. Off of Love Gun. And She Kissed Me.
Oh, does that even count as a cover?
Yeah, sure it does. It counts.
It's on a Kiss album.
It's horrible, but
Kiss performed it, and it's just horrible. The original song, I would have rather they had put the original actual song, the original version,
put that on there instead.
On the album rather than them doing it. If you're going to do it, do it right. And Kiss has no business singing that type of song. Really, they don't. They're really not a cover band, though they've done some good covers and since then. But that is a bad first attempt. Well, not second attempt, I guess, because they did Kiss in Time, which is not one of the best, but it's not horrible, like this one is.
I've always wondered, is that the beginning of them chasing trends? Because I know Sean Cassidy covered a song.
Do Run Run?
Yes, and that's from the same school of songwriter as Then She Kissed Me. He had a hit with his, and I know his album came out around the same time as Love Gun. I'm not even going to start typing and annoying people to figure it out, but I totally agree. They should have had another song on it. That would be one that if I ever did sit down with them, would be one I'd really want to ask about to get a kind of a better answer as to whose idea it was. Was that Neil? Maybe it's in one of the books. I'm just not remembering, but it's pretty dreadful. I also have a pick from the Makeup Era, and I did not pick that. And in hindsight, I probably would have, but one of my least favorite songs of the Originals era is "You're All That I Want." It's just saccharine. It's, again, some of the criticisms I leveled at I Walk Alone in terms of its tempo, and it's just not really having any meat on its bones. It's just a song that never agreed to me. It gives me indigestion every time I hear it. So people are like, well, play it more often, you bastard. And when the box set came out and you had the demo, I hated it even more. It's like, oh my god, it was even worse as a demo. So they improved it, and I still hate it. So that's the only.
Yeah.
I'm just checking. Yeah, that's the only one that I picked from the 73 to 80 era. Lonnie?
I'm going to go back to Animalize. I'm going with Lonely is the Hunter.
Oh, I like that song.
Do you really?
I do like it. Always liked it.
Remember, that bar is really low for Gene in the 80s, so I actually kind of like it too now.
Do you really?
That's Bruce plays on that too.
That's the first song on my list, actually, is Lonely is the Hunter. So
I always
keep in mind.
liked it and like the middle kind of the riffing going on, but yeah. That's what I always liked it.
I think it's bad.
Don't hang on up us. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I think it's bad. I think it's total cheesy, total Gene not even wanting to be there. Again, like Murder in High Heels, just mailing it in. Here you go. I'm shooting a movie. Go ahead and produce this too while you're at it, and I'll see you guys at rehearsal before we go on tour. If I decide to come to rehearsal type thing.
Jeez.
It's total Gene mailing it in my opinion.
Okay.
Next, you'll say you don't like While the City Sleeps.
It's not on my list.
Okay.
Okay. That was a good riff.
All right, who's up? Is it back to you, Ken?
I don't know. I thought that was you.
Okay. Lonnie. This one I'd like to dedicate to Lonnie. And,
he's going to say something off Revenge.
Spit.
Oh, come on, Julian.
First time I heard that song, I'm like, that's a crap sandwich.
Oh,
really?
That's a Titanic-sized log of crap.
Oh, I think it's fun.
I disagree.
Okay.
I lacked the sense of humor then, having seen Spinal Tap so many times, that when Kiss is borrowing from Spinal Tap, who are inspired from Kiss, it's a total jumping of the shark. And I didn't like it. I didn't like the song. I didn't like anything about it. It was like, for me, that reminds me of Gene Animalize, even though I do believe Mr. Stanley has a co-write on it. It's just wrong to have those sorts of lyrics. And yeah, we're talking about Kiss lyrics. Yes, go figure. But there you go. I don't like it.
Lyrical geniuses.
Didn't like it then, don't like it now. Ken.
Okay, so I'm going to pick something off Asylum just because of that. No, I'm joking.
Right. Just in spite.
No, I'm not.
No one's got anything on Asylum on their list here.
Actually, no, I don't have anything on
I don't
Asylum.
either, actually.
I'm going to be controversial in my next couple of picks probably here.
Ooh, controversy.
Controversial. You're a controversial host, so.
But you'll understand, I think, why. All right, so off of Double Platinum, Strutter 78.
Yeah, pointless, I guess.
Because there was no reason to re-record that. No reason. The original is great. It's a great song. Great as it was as a lead song on the first album. I don't understand the thinking there. What the heck are they recording that again? If you're gonna do something, put a new song as part of the package of Double Platinum. So that song, it's like, I don't hate the song, but it just doesn't make any sense, and that's why it's got to go for me. I don't need to listen to that. When you have the original, like we said, the original is always usually the better version anyway, right?
Yeah, I mean, how can you top that original version? Mm-hmm. And why didn't they, for that matter, do a song, say, Rock and Roll All Night, re-record that?
With a solo with it. Yeah.
With a solo, yes. How odd. Lonnie. I'm down to my last two picks, by the way, after you go.
We did Murder in High Heels. Let's go with No off Crazy Nights.
Oh, no.
Would I take one of yours?
No.
No? That's surprising.
No.
Oh, I actually like that song.
No.
Yeah, I understand that. I would agree, yeah.
It's pretty bad. Again, it's just Crazy Nights. Just overthinking it, maybe not even overthinking it, just following trends too much. And I just think it's crap. But you guys disagree with me? I don't agree with Julian that Spit belongs on any list like this. So
it's okay. It's not,
to each their own. And it wouldn't be fun if we all had the same 10 list. If we all had the same 10 songs. Oh. You know what I mean? So no, for me, no has got to be on there. It's a total crap Gene song, and it just.
I know Lonnie can't wait.
I just can't do it. I just can't
do it. I know Lonnie can't wait for your feature in September or whatever it is.
I'm
looking forward to that.
I'm totally crapping on Crazy Nights. I'm really excited about Julian's 30th anniversary of Crazy Nights coming out, obviously.
I mean, it's hard not to on some of it. I mean, I really disliked that song for many years. I've only kind of grown to like it a little bit more, and that's a little bit more. In watching the live performances of it, I love Bruce just letting rip on the guitar work on that. That's a high point. Lyrically, nothing's going to make that sandwich taste better.
Thank you.
But musically, I think it's a really fun jam track, and that comes across when you watch it live. It's just when he starts singing, you're like, nope. But
no.
But there you go. That's not as bad, I guess, as me picking Spit off. Revenge for you. You didn't.
It's our own tastes.
Yeah, you didn't go onto Asylum and,
I stay clear of Asylum.
Out of spite.
Okay. I didn't start swapping my picks. I'll show that Julian.
My next pick, my penultimate pick is I'm an Animal. This is a case of good recyclers gone bad. Now, Gene has recycled some very good ideas in the past. Obviously, he's got a very deep well of material, sometimes lines, sometimes song titles, sometimes things that he comes back to and incorporates or integrates. A great example of Gene recycling a good song for me is Love's a Deadly Weapon off Asylum. That was taking the pre-Elder song and merging it with Wendy O. Williams song and coming up with a Kiss song.
That's great, actually.
So, that's a good, for me, that's a good example. I'm an Animal, of course, is got bits of Feel Like Heaven on it. So it was almost trying to do the same thing again. But that song had been released by Peter on Let Me Rock You. And it was just so obvious. It became awkward and uncomfortable in the middle of a song to start hearing the lyrics to another song that that's been out there for many years. And it was just like, what are you doing? And that Sonic Boom I had to go to. I mean, it was either mention that song or Backboning, Slipping, and all that shitting, as an example of, another example of bad recycling.
I can't think of anything else like you said.
That line turns up on 2 albums in a row. But I'm an Animal as a song is, an egregious example of overt recycling and recycling the wrong sorts of ideas.
I wasn't a big fan of the song when the album came out, and then when they started playing it live, made it even worse for me because live the song just really plots along, and it's a dead period. It was a dead period in that show, and I went with they did that when they toured in the summer of 10, when they did Europe, and then they came back and they did like a shed tour in the summer of 10. Mm-hmm. They opened that show with Delilah, and they played Say Yeah, and then they played I'm an Animal later in the set, and we're gonna do another song off of Sonic Boom. My brother looks at me, he's like, another one, and then they did this, and my brother's like, this is awful. Go get a beer, he goes.
It was that album's Within for me. It was really, even when Lightning Strikes on that album, which I'm not a fan of because it was just way too contrived. This takes the cake. If I'm putting this up there as level of bad, then When Lightning Strikes just halfway bad. So that's how bad it is to me. So that was a visual for all our listeners. Pretty bad stuff.
It was a great visual.
I don't know. I'm an Animal. I actually like it better than The Devil Is Me. I think it's better than The Devil Is Me, in my opinion. So, Anyway.
Well, you're correct.
Okay. Well, there you go. See.
Each their own.
Shoot.
All right.
But I didn't pick that.
Give us one of your picks, son.
Okay, it's my last one. It's going to be another controversial, I guess, one. Maybe more controversial.
Controversial host.
It is. What is it? I forget. It's.
You're not going to believe it when you hear it.
It's Detroit Rock City. The single.
Oh, well.
Version.
Oh.
Because they totally.
Spliced up.
It was a hatchet job. It doesn't sound right at all, especially when you've listened to it so many times on the album, in other formats. I don't know what the heck they were thinking when they edited that. Sure, yeah, we try to get the song down to 3 minutes or whatever, the time that you're supposed to try to get it down to back then. But don't ruin the song, the integrity of the song and the sound by chopping things out and putting things in certain spots where they shouldn't be. Why even release it as a single if you're going to screw it up in the first place? It just doesn't make any sense. So that's why I picked that. I mean, I love the song on the album again, but on the single that they released, and if anyone wants to listen to that song, they can probably find it on YouTube, or if they have, like the Casablanca singles or whatever. Boy, it's just bad.
If you have to mutilate a song to release it as a single, perhaps you shouldn't be releasing it as a single. How about that?
I'm curious who actually did the mutilating on that single. Do we know? Was it Sean Delaney? Or someone else?
I have no idea. I know that the contract probably stated that they didn't need the band's permission to do anything the label wanted to. So
or Bob Ezrin, even for that matter. I don't think Bob Ezrin would.
It doesn't sound like
no
Bob
way.
Ford.
You think Bob Ezrin's going to take a Ginsu knife to the tape of a masterpiece? No. I mean, they probably hired some. And
intern.
Well,
someone that hated Kiss, probably. And
an angry
You
coach.
guys make it sound like crap.
I'll show them I'm going to put this here, and I'm going to take that part out.
Take this out.
Here's a knife. Here's some cocaine. Go make us a single.
Have at it.
Yeah. They did one of those George Martin things, where they, they cut up the tape and they threw it up in the air, and then they spliced things back together. Something like that.
No, I think this is more like Gallagher and the Watermelon and the Sledge-O-Matic. Here's your masterpiece, smush. So, yeah.
Too bad.
I don't think that's controversial. That's
no.
all.
I think we all actually agree on it. So no, I don't think it's controversial at all.
Yeah, voice of reason.
It's not just a bad song; it's a crime against humanity. So, Lonnie.
Yes. Yeah.
I got one more. And it comes off of Hot in the Shade again. And it's Boomerang.
Mm-hmm.
A song that definitely should have been left off. Again, with the 15 tracks is about 5 too many tracks. I think it falls into the extra tracks again. And this time it's actually, a Gene song, but it's... I don't know how many times I've actually gotten through it, to be honest with you. And it's been out for almost 30 years. It's awful. It's just, it doesn't do it for me at all. It's just an unfinished demo, and we just threw it on there at the end. Just so, again, it was at the time that, we can put X amount of minutes on the album because it's going to be on CD. And just because you can put that many minutes on there doesn't mean you should. And to me, that song's a perfect example of that train of thinking. It's just because you can put the amount of songs on there doesn't mean you should, because it's just awful.
Yeah.
No, Boomerang is essentially the red-haired stepchild of No, No, No.
It is. I'm thinking the same thing.
Yeah, it basically is the same thing.
Yeah. And I guess that's why I don't like either one of them.
The twins. Yeah.
Kiss in concert in the 80s was fast enough. The tempo was too much, but Kiss was never a speed metal band. And Boomerang is just uncomfortable in so many different ways. And it doesn't, No, 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 I can at least say has some really great guitar work. Can't say that about Boomerang. I can't think of a redeeming quality to say about it other than there are some songs that I think that are way worse than it. So
one trend that Kiss never tried to do is speed metal.
Yeah, and my final pick is something else I think they should never have tried to do. And we did an episode on this whole collaboration years ago, and Samurai Sun is my final pick. Listening back to it, it's, I thought it was interesting at the time. It has not held up to that standard. I was listening to it. It came on my playlist in the car the other day, and I was like, skip. I actually hit skip, and I seldom hit skip on any Kiss song. And that just told me something about what I think about it. It wasn't my mood, because my mood's always miserable. It was just... It hasn't held up. It was cool that they tried to do something different, but it falls into the tried to do something different with elder results. And it's not a very good song. Simply put, it is not, I don't think, a very good song. So that was my final pick.
That's a good one. I almost put that down.
I forgot about that.
There were a few others that were kind of like trying to elbow their way to the front of the queue, but I think for my list, having Read My Body in there, Nothing Can Keep Me From You, pretty much hits most of the low points in the band's catalog. But, there's a few. For a band that's got several hundred songs, there's going to be a few stinkers. So, and we managed to pick, I guess, from many of the same albums. So I guess, we think kind of similarly about it. Final words on it, Ken.
Well, I just noticed that we didn't pick anything like off the Elder, and which a lot of people either like a lot or they don't like. But I like it. I mean, I like the whole Elder album. So that's why I didn't pick anything. And I'm almost surprised. Well, I'm not surprised you, Julian, didn't pick one off of there either. But maybe Lonnie might have.
I appreciate the Elder, though. I appreciate what they were trying to do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not just mail it in garbage crap. I can appreciate what they were trying to do with the Elder.
Yeah, they at least tried and failed grandly. I mean, it's exquisitely crafted. It
wasn't for lack of effort.
It's a meticulous failure. And
meticulous failure.
I'm not going to pick any of the songs on there as being dreadful. There are some that don't work particularly well, but I'm not going to say they're crap sandwiches that shouldn't have been given the time, because in terms of the broader picture of what they were attempting, it'd be kind of wrong to do that. Just as much as for me, it'd be wrong to pick something off Peter's solo album and say that's the worst Kiss song. Because it was honest, or Jeans for that matter, same thing.
Yeah.
So the albums that are bad are, for me anyway, are kind of representative of the band in trouble. And it's 87 to 89 predominantly for our picks.
Yeah,
I get in there with the snarky revenge one, and some of the stuff off Sir Thomas's Sonic Boom. But
98.
I
98.
think
that's a great point. I think it's a great point. It's like not where all of our picks came from, but for a good majority of them is representative of a band in trouble, or a band without direction, or a band that is having internal problems at the time with Psycho Circus. It's not much of a band even at the time, really, that's recording that. They can't even all four get in the same room. So, when you have a few hundred songs, like Julian was saying, there's going to be some bad ones, and the bad ones are going to be more predominant where it's not a team effort.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's the opposite of what's Ken Sharp, one of his older albums, Happy Accidents. The opposite of that, miserable disaster. I don't know. So at least they tried. I mean, the albums that we picked from, apart from Psycho Circus, which I think everyone's going to have a pick off there because it represents such a miserable time for us as fans. What we were hoping for a reunion album, and you wanted the best with faux English accents at the end and that freaking
what is that about?
Pedestrian. Yeah.
What is that about? Oh, Stanley's all of a sudden British at the end of the song?
Yeah. But like you said, I think it was you, Ken, them trying the false camaraderie.
Yeah, and them laughing at the end, like, oh, we're just best friends in the studio, or going out for dinner when we get done recording this.
And oddly, no one put any of the You Wanted the Best tracks on their list.
Yeah, I mean, that was more of a live kind of thing. Idea. So it was just the whole thing. I mean, the whole thing is a bad idea. Anyway, yeah.
All right.
I don't know.
Alan, would have loved you had you on there. You might have remembered more of what I had said about Samurai Sun back when we did the original episode on it and talked me down and said, but you said... I changed my mind, apparently. So, most of these songs I didn't like back then. I don't like now. Very few I didn't like back then have I grown to like. No, No, No is one that I've grown to like a bit more, as explained. What are your least favorite songs out of the band's catalog? Pick 10 if you wish, or, just pick the top least favorite, whatever you want to do. Also, what are some of your favorite moments in Kiss's videos, be them long-form movies, Gene Simmons' acting career, Family Jewels, whatever. What are your favorite sequences involving a Kiss member? Share with us wherever you happen to watch or listen to this show. And we do appreciate you listening to us, so we thank you for joining us this week. So from Ken, from Lonnie, and myself, thank you, and we'll see you next time. Thank you for spending time listening to the KissFAQ podcast today. All sales are final. There are no refunds. If you'd like, look us up on Facebook or come over to the KissFAQ message board and discuss the topic we broadcast today. Don't forget to rate us on iTunes, Spreaker, or wherever you've listened to the show. We hope you'll join us again.